In the previous Star Wars video about the recently revealed female-centric new series coming from Leslye Headland, I emphasized that Disney had not announced it. On the contrary, sources within Lucasfilm had leaked it to Variety. To me, that made the whole move look like a political maneuver, one designed to force Disney's hand into making something they had not greenlit. But that was just my informed guess. I had no evidence to back that up. Since that video was recorded, however, more information has come to light. And while there is no smoking gun just yet, this new information does suggest that Kathleen Kennedy indeed went rogue and tried to force Disney's hand using public opinion. And Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are both livid about it. In this editorial, I will first briefly recap exactly why the manner in which information about Leslye Headland's female-centric Star Wars has all the hallmarks of being dirty political maneuvering, before going through the recent rumors about how Bob Iger and Bob Chapek responded to it, and what I now have heard from our own sources. Finally, we'll speculate a little bit on what might happen next. To briefly recap my previous editorial, I said there was something off about the manner in which we learned about Leslye Headland's female-centric Star Wars series right off the bat. Variety broke the scoop, but Disney never announced it. Even so, Variety's scoop read very much so like an official press release, even though it wasn't. That means it was a deliberate leak. And whenever leaks like that happen, someone has gone rogue. Because if the company was unified behind it, they would have put out an official announcement instead. Also, Leslye Headland deleted hundreds, if not thousands of tweets before the Variety scoop went live, which suggests she knew that her Twitter was about to be scrutinized. Note that I'm not saying she was the one that tipped off Variety, but there is every reason to suspect that she knew this was about to drop. So, who dropped it? Based on the just listed observations, I speculated it would have been either Kathleen Kennedy herself, or someone in Lucasfilm loyal to her doing it on her behalf, which is pretty much the same as Kathleen Kennedy doing it herself. To follow that line of thought, why would she do something like that? Well, it stands to reason that if she were to go through the normal chain of command, which would have been develop a pitch with Leslye Headland and then present it to Iger, then one of two things would happen. He would either agree it was a great idea, greenlight it, and announce it, in which case all would be well for Kathleen Kennedy. But alternatively, and much more likely in light of Kennedy's recent track record, Iger would pull the plug on it behind closed doors, and no one outside of Disney and Lucasfilm would ever know that Leslye Headland and Kathleen Kennedy were developing another female-centric Star Wars. You know, for the cause. Instead, the female-centric iteration of Star Wars would likely end with Kathleen Kennedy's contract, and she would look like a failure. But if Leslye Headland could keep the female-centric Star Wars going even after Kathleen Kennedy had left the building, then not only would that be good for the cause, it would be good for Kathleen Kennedy's legacy. As such, it would be in her best interest to force it to go ahead, even if she is no longer there. And remember, her contract expires in 2021. So, how could Kathleen Kennedy force it ahead in advance? Well, by effectively announcing it, and how virtuous it is poised to be by way of a strategic leak. You know, like the one we just saw. Because if the entertainment media complex and the Twitterati know that Leslye Headland is developing a female-centric Star Wars, and they're all behind it, Bob Iger would both make himself and Disney look bad if he were to shut it down. That was my speculation anyway. I had no proof of it, no inside word, that's simply what I got from interpreting the observations we had at the time. And then I'll just have to modify that hypothesis as more information becomes available. Well, since making that video, more information has come to light, and it all fits perfectly with the initial hypothesis. You will recall that a while back, Bob Iger surprisingly stepped down as CEO of the Walt Disney Corporation, naming Bob Chapek as his replacement, while he took on the mantle as chairman of the board. At the time, I said it reminded me of when Vladimir Putin, for legal technical reasons, momentarily stepped back as president of Russia, naming Medvedev as his replacement while he took on the mantle of prime minister, before eventually returning to being president. Be that as it may, when the China-induced crisis hit Disney alongside everyone else, we learned that what Bob Iger giveth, Bob Iger can taketh away, for he stepped right back into the role as CEO, keeping Chapek close to him. Well, now we've learned that the two Bobs, both Iger and Chapek, are livid. This rumor comes from one of those places the real leaks, the ones no one involved actually wants you to know, hail from, namely various message boards. In this case, the WDW Magic Forum. On Thursday, the poster WDW Pro posted. Alright, I'm usually the one explaining what's going on behind the scenes, but I could use a little help with this one. I've got a friend in the know who says this morning, Pacific time, both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are unhappy with Lucasfilm and there is faster than normal movement going on to get high-level meetings going. What the heck is going on? I'm on the road, so I can't dig on this, but what could possibly be going on with Lucasfilm that would create a scurry when everybody is basically working from home, if at all? The term used was livid, but I just can't imagine what they could possibly have done. That's where all the reports about the livid Bobs hail from. Now, you could easily interject that this is some random nobody on some random Disney forum, and we should therefore dismiss this as bunk for that very reason. Well, not so fast. You see, while the forum was different and the poster was different, this is literally the exact same manner in which we learned of the trouble behind the scenes of Josh Trank's Phant 4-stick, Paul Feig's Ghostbusters, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, Game of Thrones Season 8, and if you want to go back even further, Green Lantern and even The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. There's no end of rumors that come out this way, only to be confirmed later on, so I would not flat out reject this. So, what could Lucasfilm have done that would have made both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek livid? Easy. They went ahead and leaked that they were developing a female-centric Star Wars series for Disney Plus with Leslye Headland, and they did it in a manner which read like an official press release. Which is exactly what the entirety of the entertainment media complex is treating this as. As per my speculation, Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm orchestrated a situation in which Bob Iger would look bad if he were to pull the plug on this virtuous thing. Everyone are rushing to praise for fear of being called something nasty if they don't. You can see why that would make him livid, because he just got caught between a rock and a hard place. At the time of making this video, not much more is known than that, so I reached out to our own sources that have some connections to Disney and Lucasfilm. As usual, let me preface by saying that anything we hear from our sources cannot be independently verified. As such, you must take it with a grain of salt and treat it as rumor, pending further confirmation. With that health warning out of the way, what I was told from our sources was that this female-centric series was completely new to them. There was no paper trail of it, no story synopsis, no applications for funds, no nothing. Whatever Kennedy and Leslye Headland have been developing, and she has been in the circle around Kathleen Kennedy for a few months now, but whatever they have been developing, they have done in secrecy, and by all accounts nothing has ever been pitched to either Bob Iger or Bob Chapek. In other words, neither of the Bobs have been given the opportunity to either approve or reject anything. We have also heard that Disney have momentarily slammed the brakes on any and all new projects for Disney Plus, and pretty much everything else. Everything already in development is still on, but nothing new will be put into development until more is known about the current situation that Disney and the entertainment industry at large finds itself in. In the opinion of our sources, this is but a Hail Mary from Kathleen Kennedy. On the surface of things then, it does, as of now, look like Kathleen Kennedy went rogue and tried to force Bob Iger's hand. More information can of course come to light later on, which could modify that impression, but that is nonetheless what it looks like right now. So, what are they going to do about it? There has reportedly been a flurry of meeting activity brought on by this, and how to deal with the situation. Chances are, no decision has been reached as of yet, and they do have time on their side, seeing as nothing will be filming anytime soon either way. So, will Iger let himself be forced into at least agreeing to a pitch meeting, or has Kennedy overplayed her hand here? I don't know, but we'll keep you up to date as we learn more. In addition to that, we'll also be putting out videos breaking down just how divided Lucasfilm and Disney really are behind the scenes, as well as why so many who aren't man-babies or isdaphobes reel at the mere mention of the term female-centric, so do come back for that. If you like this content, and everything else we have to offer, then please subscribe and indicate that you want notifications on all videos and click on them when you get them. Otherwise, YouTube will stop sending them. Yeah, that's how they roll. Till then, let me know what you think of all of this in the comments.